Hi, my name is Meredith, and welcome back to my mental health and illness documentary. In this episode today, we are going to be talking about depression. So each episode is going to follow the same basic structure, opening with the basic definition of the illness, then going into primary sources with first-hand experiences, and then going into secondary sources and basically wrapping up the episode with presenting different ways to help those in need. So, when I think of depression, I usually think of...
Depression? Isn't that just a fancy word for feeling bummed out?
Dwight, you ignorant slut!
We're gonna see if we get copyrighted for that, but literally it's so bad. Every time I think about depression, that is the only thing that comes into my head. And there's not much I can do about that. And I honestly don't mind having that be the one thing that pops into my head when I think of depression, because it makes me happy. So the basic definition of depression, and I have my episode plan in front of me, is a mental condition characterized by feelings of severe despondency and dejection, typically with feelings of inadequacy and guilt, often accompanied by a lack of energy and disturbance of appetite and sleep. Once again, this is a definition that gives you a very straightforward understanding. You can't actually know what this feels like unless we talk about it.
It means a couple different things. I guess it's not fully being sad. It's a mixture of feeling like a lot of stuff, but then feeling like nothing at the same time.
A loss of motivation, like apathy.
Nothing that usually makes me happy will, and I just don't want to get out of bed. I can't find the motivation to do stuff that I know I need to do.
Personally, it's a very alone, dark, sad place.
Mm-hmm. I guess it was a couple years after the whole anxiety thing, so probably 11, 12-ish.
Around 6th, 7th grade.
Since sophomore year.
I was diagnosed again freshman year, so when I was 14.
I can't remember exactly, but 3 to 4 years on and off.
Probably in 5th grade, but it was officially diagnosed in 8th grade.
I honestly don't know. I've always been kind of lazy, so I don't know when it switched from the point of just not wanting to get out of bed because it's comfy to not being able to get out of bed.
So I talk about this period of time a lot, 8th grade to freshman year, because a lot of things are happening, and around that time, that's when I started to notice my anxiety, which I have had my whole life. And soon after noticing it and figuring out how to cope with it and deal with it, I started to develop depressive-like symptoms. I do not fully suffer from depression, but I do have, depressive symptoms that sometimes can cause depressive episodes, which are not fun. But it would probably be after freshman year I started noticing the depression.
I don't want to get out of bed. I sleep a lot. I eat a lot. But also sometimes I can't sleep or I won't eat anything.
Shut down, push everyone away, and exist in my own little bubble where I literally feel nothing.
I just kind of hide away. I don't talk to anybody, don't answer anybody. That's when my friends know.
I start to see all the inaccuracies or inadequacies with my own life and what's wrong, how I can't fix it, and it usually just sort of weighs me down.
I would self-harm. I would have eating issues. What else? I would cry.
What normally happens when I'm going through, for example, a depressive episode, I will sleep a lot. Because I'm just so mentally, emotionally, and physically tired from this depressive episode that I want to sleep. And usually when I am sleeping, I'm trying to I'm having like a depression nap, right? And depression naps are basically time traveling for the depressed. I'm usually trying to waste time, get through the day, try not to think about things, go to a different place rather than physically being in reality. I usually don't want to be around anyone at that point or at that moment in time because I'm not going to have like the physical capability to maintain a conversation with you because I'm not there. I am literally not there. So I had this really awful depressive episode last summer. Something happened in my social life that affected my mental health so greatly that I was stuck in a depressive episode for a week. And what happened during that week was that I stayed in bed for the entire week. I slept most days for long periods of time. Barely got up, barely ate anything, didn't want to do anything. I felt that, huge sadness in my chest, the weight right there. There's also, like, during that time, like, it was very hard to clean. Like, I couldn't clean my bedroom. I didn't want to be bothered with it. I couldn't take showers. I think my mom during that week was like, Meredith, get your ass in the shower. Like, you're disgusting. Because like, I couldn't physically bring myself to go clean myself in the shower because like, that was a lot of effort during that time. I couldn't complete simple tasks. I couldn't really do anything. I was off my phone for the entire week because I was just so depressed.
Honestly, every part of my life is affected when I get depressive episodes.
I would definitely say school, because when I can't find the motivation to do anything, school's really the only thing in my life other than work right now, especially that I have to do stuff for. And work, I can show up and then go home, and that's it. I don't have like homework for that. My school is impacted by my inability to do my homework when I get home. Mm-hmm. So
probably my social life, because I really isolate myself, and I'm fine with like being alone, but when I start to isolate myself, I can't really tell the difference between wanting to be alone and like wanting to like push everybody away from me.
My family, because my parents have always, especially my father, has always been very hard on me to be the best person I can be, and it's hard for him to, I guess, watch me go through this in some way, but I feel like in a way that I've disappointed him.
My social life is definitely affected the most because usually when I'm depressed, I'm just at home, so I'm usually with my family. But it also kind of affects my family life as well. Rather than being downstairs or being present with my family members, I am in my bed sleeping. Usually during that time, I don't go out much with my friends because that's too much social interaction for me. I also, I'm cracking my fingers. When I'm thinking about this, there's a lot of different ways people cope with their depression. And I know that a lot of my friends, like when they're depressed, they like to go out and do things and make themselves active. But when I'm depressed, I don't want to do anything. And I usually give myself the amount of time that I need to pull myself together before I go back into social life.
My mom would say, tell me happy things. I would say, leave me alone. So I really don't know. Sometimes it's a mix of both.
Like, I try to ask people to hang out, or I text them or call them, or actually have to like tell people like I'm sad, like please just cheer me up. Sometimes I try and see if I can force myself out of it, which doesn't work. I don't think that's a real thing. I'm kind of like positive thinking because that's what everyone tells me to do, and it's like people don't
made me realize how hard it can be to force yourself to think positively when you're in a space like that.
I usually give myself the amount of time that I need to rest and recover. So when I'm in a depressive episode, I usually let myself do whatever I want. It's usually sleeping and eating a whole bunch of junk food. I let myself do that for like maybe a day or two, depending on how long this depressive episode lasts. I think that's very important that like when you are in a tough mental spot that you let yourself just vibe out for a little bit and just let yourself do what your body feels like you need to do. So I'll usually do that, and then after a while I'll start to clean up. I will take a shower. Showers are amazing. I love showers. Not when I'm depressed though, but when I'm out of the depressive episode, shower. I get back into contact with some of my friends. I will plan something. I will, if it's nice outside, I'll go outside. I will go for a walk. I will spend time with my dog. I will go downstairs and like watch a movie with my family. I'll make sure that I'm reintegrating myself into social life so that I can get myself back on track. My bedroom helps me a lot when I'm going through any mental crisis, especially when I'm depressed. I don't think a lot of people realize this, but your bedroom has such a big impact on your mental health, especially like the state that it's in. I love my room so much. Whenever I'm in here, I just feel so safe and calm, and it's just a great place to be in. I make sure that my room is always clean, so that if I do get into a depressive episode, when I'm throwing things around and not putting things away, it's easier when I'm out of the depressive episode to put things away, so that it's not too much on the floor or on my desk or on my bed. Just making sure that things are already in their place before it happens. A lot of pre-planning, even though I don't even know when the depressive episode will hit. It's nice to have things clean before it happens. I have my collage wall. This is kind of an awkward shot, especially the way the camera's positioned. I tried to get the entire collage wall in here. But yeah, here it is. This is my pride and joy. I love it very much. But this makes me very happy. I love my collage wall so much. Whenever I feel depressed, I will just like, I'll sit and I'll look at it. But yes, it's taken me a lot of time to do this. You might be asking, how many pictures are up there? No idea. Someone count and comment down below. Let me know. So the next thing I want to talk about is safe items. When I'm talking about, this is gonna be mildly embarrassing for me, because I usually don't talk about them that often, but basically when I'm saying safe items, I mean like these are the items that you go to make you feel better. They're items that hold a lot of importance to you, a lot of sentimental value that you revert back to when, for example, you're in a depressive episode. So when I am depressed, there are a couple of things that I will go to that help me out. Even when I'm going through any other mental health problem, it's usually these items that I go to. Number one on my list, these. See, like even right now I feel very calm. These are my blankets from when I was a baby, and I love them very much. And I'm very grateful to have parents who don't question their 18-year-old daughter, about her sentimental blankets from when she was a baby. So these blankets have obviously been with me for a very long time. I I sleep with them every night. So a lot of people have weighted blankets, and those are blankets that have like sand in them or something, so that when you sleep with them at night, it feels like the weight of the blanket feels as though it's like you're in a hug or an embrace or something. I don't have a weighted blanket, nor do I really want one, but I have these. So usually all three of them, when I go to bed, I usually enjoy hugging other people rather than people hugging me. Like it's kind of like the same concept, but in my mind it's different. So when I'm going to bed, I will take all three of them and I will hold them like this, like I'm hugging someone, and I'll go to bed. But in addition to sleeping with these items, they are very soft. They smell, in my opinion, they smell good. It's very calming for me to have these. Like even when I'm you can see that I'm like fiddling with them a lot. When I'm touching them, like it's just a nice sensory item that calms me down. Like even you can ask my parents, when I'm crying, I will take these and I'll just like right in my face. But yeah, these have been with me for a very long time. Love them very much. So when I am in a depressive episode, these are around me all the time. Usually they're not like, I'm not that attached to them. Like I could go to someone else's house and leave these at home. Like I don't need them to sleep every night. I don't need them like throughout the entire day. It's just they're always nice to be there when I'm having like a mental crisis. But yeah, to be honest, if I didn't have these, life would go on. Like I don't really, like they're not a necessity, but I am very attached to them. So, and if you're wondering if I have a favorite, of course I do. It's the pink one. It's the softest, so only mildly embarrassing. So what I want to get out of this little bit is that a lot of people have these safe items, these items with immense sentimental value, that they're a little afraid to show to people or to let people know about. I just want to make it very clear that like I am an 18-year-old girl going into college who still has her blankets from when she was a baby. It's okay. It's okay to have these items, whatever floats your boat. And I think it's very important that you don't feel ashamed about these items. You shouldn't, because like these items make you feel better. They help you feel better. So why would you consider getting rid of them or hiding them or hiding the fact that you own them? I don't know what I would do if I didn't have these safe items. So I just want to make it clear that like, if you do have items like these, fantastic. More power to you that you have these items that you've had since you were 3, since you were a baby. It doesn't matter. It helps. It helps so much. So next section, how to help those who suffer from depression or depressive-like symptoms. First, going to go over some misconceptions. Anyone who says, just try being happy, you deserve the electric chair. It is literally not that easy. It is so annoying when people say that. But yeah, a lot of people think that like we're just being sad, we're just overreacting, just get over it, try being happy. You know, if I had the ability to just be happy all the time and not deal with this crap, I wouldn't be asleep in my bed right now. Like, I wouldn't have eaten 3 zebra cakes in the past 2 minutes. I would, like, you really think I could just stop feeling this way? I think I get really riled up when people try to say things like that about depression, because like, if we had the ability, we wouldn't be like this right now. But that's another thing. It is so not easy. It is not an easy task to just be happy sometimes. And I feel like people need to respect that. So getting right into the signs that I have that may or may not apply to everyone, I'm going to be reading off of my list. So there's social isolation, lack of motivation, excessive sleeping, change in mood, weight gain or loss, insomnia, negativity, indulging in poor behavior, and self-harm. Those are some mildly specific signs that you can look out for when you feel as though someone, like a friend or someone close to you, is experiencing depression.
If you'd asked me 12 years ago, people who are depressed cry a lot, right? Like that's what depression looks like, is you're sad all the time. But that's really not true. I've heard various descriptions of depression as like your brain lying to you, like we mentioned, or a feeling of distance or detachment from emotion of any type, positive or negative. Like sort of feeling empty or feeling numb emotionally.
What I would say to look out for is just general symptoms of sadness. So, for example, if your friend is, not going out as much, not talking, doesn't want to do things, like the lack of motivation, is very sad, that's probably a great time to start a conversation with them. I feel as though with all mental health and illnesses, starting this conversation is the most important thing you can do to help. To be honest, it's kind of the only thing you can do. You're always taking steps to open up that conversation, because by doing that, you're showing your friend or this person you care about that you care about them, that you're there for them, and you're willing to listen and help them through this tough time. So I believe that with mental health and illnesses, if one of the best ways you can help is to always open up that conversation. Ways you can open up this conversation: if you notice that your friend is suffering from some form of depression, like they look sad, they're not interacting with people, etc., whatever you notice that you believe is to be part of depression or a depressive episode, some conversation starters that you can have are you all right? Or, we haven't talked in a while, how are you? Again, you may or may not come across that, roadblock where they don't want to talk about it. Again, I've said this in the anxiety episode, and I feel like I'm going to be repeating the same thing over and over again, but it's very important that people understand this. You get to that roadblock and they don't want to talk about it, that's okay. But you let them know that you're always going to be there for them, that you're there if they need help. So while you're having this conversation with them, you can ask them, how can I help? Or maybe just sit there and listen to them. Sometimes when I'm in a depressive mood, what helps is, for example, when I was in a depressive mood last week, my mom came into my room and she was like, do you want to talk about it? And I was like, yes. And then I literally just word vomited everything. And then I felt really awesome after that. Sometimes that really helps, where you sit there and you listen, you let them talk through their problems. It feels really good for them and for you that you're helping them, and for them that they're getting it out of their mind. Usually when I'm talking to one of my friends who is in a depressive mood, I usually just try to talk it through with them. Make sure that they feel as though it's okay for them to express how they're feeling and just to let it all out. I will also, if, they let me, I will help them go through the process of getting back on their feet. Whether that be, this depends on the person, whether that be through getting them out and active, going out somewhere, helping them with whatever they're behind on, for work, or even if it just means staying in for the night and just watching a movie in our PJs, eating junk food, whatever it may be. I usually like to help people through the recovery process. For me, I personally like it when I'm a very do-it-yourself kind of person, where when I'm in, it's different from when I'm experiencing anxiety. When I'm experiencing anxiety, like I want people to be there. But when I'm experiencing depression, I usually like to be by myself because I'm like, okay, we can get out of this. Like we can figure this out. But when I am in a depressive state, I do like it when people reach out or they will open up that conversation with me. I know that my parents are really good about that. Like my family, my sister too, like they're all very good about that, where if I'm like in a bad mental place, they'll just let me word vomit at them, which is nice. But yeah, usually just talking it out really helps.
I'm finding more and more the students that are willing to talk to me that one of the brands of lies, the depression's greatest hits, is seeing students that are caring and sensitive and so gentle and kind to the people around them, and then they don't give themselves that same gentleness and kindness and understanding. And whatever I can do to point that out and remind them that like you would never, the things that you are asking of yourself right now, you would never ask of another human being. I don't need you to get better. I just need you to, at a minimum, strive to treat yourself as well as you treat other people.
Don't like be like, oh, you're faking it for attention, because I know there are some people out there who do that, which is really, really, it makes me mad. But like, for people who are really struggling, there's a difference, and if you can tell, you'll. It's just obvious if they're struggling. Just be there. Just don't be like you're faking it. Get over it, because that will not help them at all. They will actually make them be so much worse, and you don't want that, especially if you're friends with them. So I suggest just being a caring, compassionate, good friend and be there for them.
I guess don't forget about other people, because you get really caught up in your own head a lot of the times, and you kind of forget that other people are going through other stuff too. And I try and do that too, and I wish people would do that more, if that makes sense.
Honestly, just letting me know that they don't hate me. Other than that, there's really not much you can do for me personally. Like, I don't know, bring me some ice cream maybe?
Lots of love. I definitely, when I'm in a depressive episode, I definitely need lots of love, hugs, cute text messages. It forced me to go do things with you.
I think, like, I don't try to be like mean, like literally mean to people, but I do push people away. And I've like been trying to get better with it, but I think it's important to like at least try to understand where someone's coming from.
My friends, I guess, again, just talking to them and talking to me, distracting me, whatever, just hanging out with them. People that don't know me personally and don't really have a background or have a little bit of knowledge with it, it's tougher, and it's kind of best to stay to the side and I guess not directly interfere unless you feel like you can really be helpful.
So I believe that's about it for this episode. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Next episode is in the works, so yeah, stay tuned, and thank you for following me through this process.